Good morning. How are you? I'm doing all right. I'm doing pretty good, actually. A friend of mine said that they thought the fog was lifting for me, and which is interesting because I got my seatbelt on. Guess I'm a little foggy. Still early. Because so, for instance, I read a book recently, and that used to be I used to have like 3 books going at all times, including like obsessively, like I'd always go to bed and read the Master and Commander series on my Kindle just over and over and over again, just endlessly. It's just comforting. And then I couldn't, and fog is kind of a good way to put it, or mental static. Just kind of. So a while ago, someone said to me, like, "Well, you are always kind of going through some kind of crisis." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, like a couple years ago, this was happening, and then last year this was happening, and then this year this was happening." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but also like, last year this great thing happened, and last year, like basically like, yeah, there's good and bad things happening. That seems to me that's what life is like." And though there could be like this kind of moving, like where the bottom is and where the top is, like that shifts around. And this last couple years, and last year especially, it seems like the bottom, how bad things can get, has been worse than I've ever experienced. And I think that in some ways, when bad things happen, there's good things that could come out of it, like a strong determination to improve your life, looking for more tools than you've ever needed before to, like, to do better with life and with yourself. And also sometimes, like when you go through bad times afterwards, one of the things I think about is like, yeah, you did it, man. Like, good for you. Like, even if like something bad happens and you just kind of make it down the road, you just get past it. That still takes determination and work and strength. Because sometimes, people trip and fall down and don't get back up, or they just kind of get partially back up. They never fully stand back up again. So anyway, finished a book. I read The Maze Runner. I don't know if I'll buy the other books. I mean, it was good, but yeah, I guess I read the entire book and thought, this was good, and then do I want to spend like $10-12 on the next book? And I'm like, I'm not so sure. Not so sure. I've been spending more time in my living room, which doesn't sound, it would only not sound like kind of a victory if I've like gone a huge amount of time without spending any time in my living room. And I think because like I kind of retreat to my back room, my computer room, and just like I can watch movies and play games, and it's like dark in there and quiet. But you're out in your living room and you got your front windows open, and you got to see the world going by, and your neighbors are waving at you, and I still have, like, if I wanted to, I still have video games to play in there. How do I open that? Is that locked? Oh, okay, it's locked. But one of the things I did when I go into my living room is play music and read my book. And like I'll pull out my laundry, and my laundry will be sitting there in a big pile, and as the week goes on, I just go like grab something out of the pile to wear. But when I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I'd kind of like this couch back, and then I start folding up laundry, and sitting there, and like you're looking into a corner of the room, like I just track in leaves and stuff like that, and spiders make these weird kind of webs, and so I'm like, oh Jesus, I better, like, you know, I do own a mop and I do own a vacuum, but like, the fog hasn't lifted high enough for me to break those out. I just grab a wet paper towel or some shop towels I have laying around, and wet them down and just wipe up corners, wipe up the leaves. I did run a broom around recently as well. Cooking, I've been doing more cooking. You know, and I think what made me think about cooking was I was making some chili that I'd previously made. I was reheating it, and I thought, you know, I should add some onions to this. And I was conscious that I was cutting the onions like very finely. Like I was really paying attention to how the onions were cut, and I thought that's a good sign, like, because it shows that like I'm thinking about, you know, what's going to be like taking bites of these things. You know, like, are you going to have like small bits of onion in every bite, or will you be chewing like a chunk of onion because you just like whacked it a couple times with a knife? Got my new coffee cup. I got this new coffee cup and a couple others. My old one that I've had forever broke. The wind blew it down, of all things. It's never happened before. And by never happened before, I mean I've had that out there in the exact same situation for over a decade, and the wind's never blown it over. And it had a lot of coffee in it too, so I don't know. The wind is weird. I broke another coffee cup recently, and kind of upset me as well. But things gotta go, you know. Like if you don't clear things out on a regular basis, or for yourself anyway, it's like things breaking. In many cases, has a silver lining to it. You know, less things is better, and also gives you a chance to buy a new coffee cup if you want. I was thinking about a situation in my life, and my brain seemingly on its own connected it to an author that I hadn't thought about in a really long time. And I was like surprised and a little happy with myself. I'm like it was a fairly obscure reference to come popping out of my head. I'm like, good job, brain, you're working. Also been more conscious of some other things that I've been like skipping, some things that I have needed taken care of for a long time, and I should probably just go ahead and take care of it. You know, I wanted to get out of the house this last weekend. I had that 4-day weekend off, and it's just cold out, man, and I'm out in the cold all the time. And the idea of going camping in the cold, or even hiking in the cold, I just wasn't feeling it. I think if I had an office job or something like that, and I would totally be like out there, like the wind and spray in my face and beating my chest, you know. But now I'm just like, I want to, like, you know, I spent a lot of time and effort getting my house, and it seems to me like wanting to like spend time there and just relax and eat food and be warm and wear slippers and wear your robe all day long. That seems like a good thing to do. And I watched a ton of movies. You know, I used to watch a ton of movies, and I gotta say that, like, that's another thing that I've been kind of like slowly stopped doing. Just I think about that static, the fog. Like, I'd be like halfway through a movie and go, God, I'm like, does this movie suck or am I tired? And I just think I wasn't paying attention. My brain was going too fast on ridiculous stuff. And that's one thing I've noticed lately is a lot less background static, a lot less intrusive thoughts. Like, my brain isn't suddenly like remembering a toy that I broke when I was 9, and then suddenly all I can think about is all the things I've broken in my life. not necessarily in a bad way, but almost like collating data. My brain's like making a file called Things You Broke, and sponsored by that initial thought. I think that how is the fog lifting? Probably a lot of determination, and like small little bits, like it has been actually going out in the cold and taking walks and riding my bike and trying to eat better and take care of my body, just trying to get enough sleep, trying to encourage my mind when it like brings up troublesome thoughts, to say like we've thought about that enough, that one person that upset you 20 years ago, like I think you've paid the dues. Like they're always going to pop up in my head, but I don't have to like continue to think about it. Like, God, why did they do that? And why didn't I? The whole maze, the whole rabbit hole of trying to figure out why people do what they do, when most likely they probably don't even know. Last couple of days I woke up with a cough. I get stress coughs, and I almost kind of think that like only because the last week has been so relaxing, the idea of coming back to work ramps up my stress a little bit more. And I've looked into that, what that is, why I'm coughing, and stress causes shallow breathing. There was like some theory on like the vagus nerve that different things happening in my body. My body's trying to like kind of shock itself loose, like a sense of constriction or something like that. Like stress might tighten my throat, but my body might think that that something is stuck or something bad's happening and it needs to clear out that obstacle. So I'm gonna when that happens, I'm just gonna try to take deep breaths. Maybe I'll sit down and rub my feet or something like that. Like try to connect that to something positive, I guess.